Okay, so are you ready to have your life changed today? Now, I know every program asks you that. Are you ready to have your life changed? Well, today's unique because today you've tuned in to the right place, the right program where true change is about to happen. And I'm going to tell you where. I'm Damon Davis, and this is One-on-One, where I go one-on-one with you, and we go one-on-one with amazing guests that are here to shape and change your life. So let me ask this question. Have you heard the statistics about the breakdown in marriage in this country? They're startling. 41% of first marriages fail. 63% of second marriages fail. 72% of third marriages are ending in divorce. Did you hear that? Now, those statistics are startling. In fact, they're not what God wants for any of us. It's not the image that God had for this institution where you are to meet that perfect mate. Doesn't mean our marriage is perfect, but it's the perfect mate. It's the mate that God designed for you. He ordained for you. The person that you were meant to spend the rest of your days here on planet Earth with, to move us ahead, to enrich us where we're happy, where we're thriving, where we're living the promises that God has for each of us. It's the kind of love story that God wants for us. It's the kind of love that you're looking for. Whether you're married and have been a statistic, whether you're married and on your way to becoming one, whether you're looking to be married, to find that perfect mate where I do really means forever, then you're not going to want to miss a minute of today's show. You were created one of a kind. You were designed with one purpose in mind. In your talents, dreams, and just one could change the world. The road to destiny, it's never easy, seldom simple. We have so many questions. Those who have traveled this road, they know the way. One turn made the difference. One idea, it ignited a fire. Just one answer to one decision, one strategy, one solution could shape your thinking and cause you to win today. We're going to lift the lid on what marriage is supposed to be. How? Because today we're going one-on-one with an amazing pastor, life coach, international speaker, my friend Andy Thompson, and the author of an amazing book called Handle with Care. What is it about? Simple. Handle with Care does this. It puts us on a mission with purpose to do this. Save marriage. That's what today's show is all about. That's what you're going to discover on today's program, and that is going to be the difference in your life today. Andy, welcome to the program.
I'm so glad to be here with you.
You know, this subject of marriage, maybe they're trying to figure out what your book describes, how to handle this thing with care and build the kind of relationship that lasts. But let me ask you straightforward, right at the beginning of the program, why, of all of the topics that you could have written about, of all of the topics that people are trying to get to know about today, finances, off the rails, spirituality, right, trying to improve finances and maybe increase what's happening on the job, why marriage? Why a topic of marriage? Why dedicate an entire book to this subject?
Well, you know, I'm interested in people being successful in every area of their life. And I think that that's the call of any pastor. I'm a pastor of a large congregation, and I see the statistics that everybody sees. 50% of marriages ending in divorce, and I thought to myself, that should not be. Right. Marriage is something that God created. I've been with the same woman for almost 25 years. We've been married for 23 years. I love marriage. It's a great thing. And I'm bothered by the way that the media depicts marriage as if it's this terrible thing, ball and chain. You know, I heard a comedian say that you're either married and bored or single and lonely. And I thought, that's crazy. That should not be the situation. I'm not married and bored. I'm married and happy. I'm married and excited. I'm married and can't wait to see the woman again. And so I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to talk about this subject, and I'm going to write about this subject, what it really is, what a real marriage is about, not just the media's depiction or the world's depiction, but what God really meant when he created this thing called marriage.
And you know, Andy, you're very straightforward is how I would describe it. You know, you say things in your book that people are thinking but not willing to say. Why are marriages failing? You quoted some statistics. I think 60% of marriages, first marriages, end in divorce. Second marriages are higher. Third marriages are just doomed to fail. What's going on?
There's a couple primary reasons why we're seeing that. I think one of the main reasons, number one, is that when it comes to marriage, we basically want love to be an instant thing, and we're not necessarily prepared for the work that love is going to take.
Sure.
We have what I call a montage mentality.
Explain.
Just like, you know, when you see Rocky, you know, the movie, and, you know, at 1 minute he's not in shape, and then Mickey says, what are we waiting for? And then within a 3-minute period, he does 8 months of work.
So we can see marriage, we can see the benefits of marriage, but somehow we don't understand the steps.
That's right.
To get to building the kind of marriage that lasts. Is that what the book talks about?
Well, see, love at first sight is something that we just love that. We think, oh, God, love at first sight. Okay, so that means that I see you, I fall in love with you, and now everything's supposed to be great and perfect and awesome.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. That's really just the beginning
Got it.
of what it really means to be in a relationship with somebody, and especially if you're going to be in a marriage relationship with somebody, because, sadly enough, it is absolutely possible to love someone and maybe even fall in love with somebody that may not necessarily be the best person for you.
Yeah.
Because that love is subjective, and you are making some choices based on who you are at the time and what you know about yourself and your maturity or lack thereof. And so you have this expectation that once I say I love you and you say I love you back, everything's perfect, everything's supposed to be great, and not necessarily understand it's going to take some work. And especially if we're going to build marriage, that a marriage is a totally different situation altogether. And that's the other thing that we see within the church and in the Christian world, is that we got to a point, especially about divorce, in which divorce became almost an unpardonable sin. And we were so dead set against divorce in the church.
Right.
And it was just such a terrible thing.
Sure.
When the Lord said, those whom God has joined together, let not man put asunder, we started to treat marriage as if it was unbreakable.
Right.
And I think the Lord was saying, look, I put you together. Now be careful about this thing. When you get it, I want you to handle it with care.
Got it.
And I think the fact that we're living in a time now in which marriage is no longer guaranteed. When we say, I love you, we mean forever. But when we say, I do, we don't mean forever. We mean as long as you act right.
Sure.
That's where we are now. So we're
Sure.
seeing divorce in the church. We're seeing divorce in leaders in the church. And a part of what I'm saying in the book is that as a result of that, because we're seeing so much divorce, because we realize that marriage is no longer guaranteed. And as a result of it, we're going to have to take marriage much more seriously.
Sure.
We're not going to be able to take it for granted. You're not going to be able to just not speak to your husband.
Right.
You're not going to be able to just be rude to your wife forever anymore, because the stigma and the negativity of divorce, it's not really there any longer. You're not going to be shamed into staying with somebody that you can't stand. So you're going to have to handle this thing with care.
You got to understand the steps.
You're going to have to work hard
to put it together, keep it together, and make it last. So what's the person feeling? Right now, they're watching this program, and the marriage is on the skids. They don't know what to do. They've read every book they can find. They've talked maybe to their pastor. They've even spent time talking to their partner to try to sort it out. What are they feeling? What do you see at that moment that the marriage is off the rails? What's going on in the mind and the heart of the person watching?
I think one of the biggest challenges for people that are watching today, even especially people that are struggling, is that you can just feel hopeless. because you have this expectation that love is an instantaneous thing, that it doesn't require any work. So if it's not working for you, something must be wrong with you. Maybe it's the wrong person. Maybe he's just not right for me. Maybe we're just not right for each other, because we have this fantasy fairy tale story of soulmates, and we meet and lock eyes, and it's this instantaneous thing, and everything is perfect. We barely know one another, and we're ready to be together forever. And so when people see that fail, because it's just not realistic, many people who are watching, they're thinking, something's wrong with me. I'm broken in some way.
Sure. Maybe I'm not good enough.
Maybe I'm not good enough. Or maybe I just don't know what I'm doing. Or I thought that she was the one, but she's just not the one. And what I'm saying is, you can't allow that hopelessness to overtake you, because that's not the problem. And we don't focus on what the real issue is in the marriage.
Which is?
Definition.
Definition.
The definition. For example, if I'm thinking, okay, well, we have love at first sight, and we just fall in love with one another, and I'm a different person and you're a different person, but if we're together, right, or if God has put us together, this is another big, huge reason why divorce is happening so much in the church, is because we just put all the responsibility on God.
Wow.
Well, God put us together. God is the one that told us to be together. God chose this person for me. I was waiting for God to write her name on the wall.
Wow.
Look, Shaquanda.
Sure.
So God wrote her name on the wall, and now I found this person, and now
So it's supposed to just be great.
it's just supposed to be great. And we never actually sat down and talked about, okay, well, what is it that we're actually trying to do? What are we actually trying to achieve? But if we then determine, okay, this is what marriage is. This is what we're coming together to do. And when we define what marriage is, it even changes what we define love to be.
Wow. Is it too late for those watching? They're already been married. They've been married 10 years. It's already rocky. Maybe on the edge. Is it too late to start over and define it?
I don't think it's too late at all. As a matter of fact, I think that the lack of definition has been the problem. The expectation that love is just going to conquer all and it's going to be okay, that's been the problem. That's the big thing that we're missing.
Got it.
The number one, the book is going to say, okay, this is what a good marriage is.
Sure.
This is a foundational pillar, a foundational stone upon which you have to build a good marriage.
Strong.
And once you find out that that's what this is, then you can focus your energy on trying to achieve that.
In the right places.
In the right way.
And take the right steps to repair a marriage that's broken.
That's right.
Find the right person that you should be getting married to at all.
Exactly.
And make marriage last by handling it with care. Let's talk about chapter 5. I believe it is, that talks about friends with benefits. What is that?
A big part of what I talk about in the book is I talk about that a serious foundational pillar of marriage is friendship, that you are friends with benefits. Most of the people that you know that have a good marriage, quite a bit of the people that I know, I've talked to, started off as friends first.
Wow.
And they had this really great friendship, and it turned into more romantic, and they added romance to the friendship that they had. One of the things I suggest in the book is, let's say you didn't start that way. Let's say your relationship started off hot and heavy and really physical. That's how people start off, because it's much easier to fit your body parts together than it is to fit your emotions together and your dreams together. And people are so quick to get down and shake it and rub it and put it down and rubbing oil on one another that they don't actually ask the question, okay, well, do we actually get along?
Sure.
Are we compatible?
Sure, after
Can
the heat and the passions subsided.
That's right.
What do they got left?
They're so busy bumping everything together that they don't realize that too much collision is going to cause a problem if we're not compatible.
Sure.
Can we really be friends? Marriage is going to be about us being together and being around one another and talking to each other. And it's just like those commercials that we see on TV where the guy gets a Klondike bar for listening to his wife.
Sure.
You know, you shouldn't, listening to your wife for 5 seconds shouldn't give you a parade. You ought to like who she is.
If it could only be that easy.
You ought to be friends. There ought to be a relationship that you have first.
Or you should learn to be friends.
That's right.
If you're already together.
If you built it all physically, and now you realize, okay, the physical's great, but if we're going to stay together and stay married and make it last, we're going to have to be friends.
We're going to have to actually like each other.
We're going to have to actually like each other. And we talk about that.
Good.
And, you know, we talked about this even in some of the stuff that I've done on dating and how to find somebody, how to be found. I said, even in your dating experience, but even more so in your marriage situation. I actually talked about that in dating as a result of all the couples that I was counseling. I found that most people that had a marriage had a problem in their marriage. Most people that had a marital issue had an issue in one of these 5 areas. It was an agreement issue.
Got it.
People that had a communication problem, they had an agreement problem in one of these 5 areas. It's an acronym, SMIRK. The S is sex. The M is money.
Wow.
The I is intangibles. The R is religion. The K is kids.
Wow.
Sex, money, intangibles, religion, kids.
All right, hold on. Are these also the leading 5 reasons that marriage fails?
The primary issues that people are having, and I would dare say that if somebody's watching right now and they have a problem in their marriage, they either have a sex problem or a money problem or an intangibles problem or a religion problem or a kids problem. I lay it all out in the book, but I almost unequivocally, when I sit down with a couple and I'm sitting there listening to them, and much of the counseling I do, I just sit, the first day I'll just listen, and I make a little chart next to my notepad, SMIRK, and I listen to them talk, and I just put it in the category of which one it matches with, and I'm sitting there hoping that they don't have a problem in more than one of the areas.
Got it.
Because a problem in just a disagreement in just one of the areas is enough to really destroy marriage.
But 5.
Sometimes people have an issue in 3 of the 5.
Wow.
And I know, wow, it's really going to take some work. We're really going to have to get down to the bottom of some things, and we're really going to have some discussion.
To work it out. Do you find most people that read this book are going to make a checklist of their own, and they're going to have more than one? Are they going to have 2? Are they going to have 3? And if so, is it too late?
Absolutely not. And that's why I wrote the book. I wrote the book to say, because let's be honest, okay, with divorce looming, let's say someone is facing possible divorce. Sure. Let's say they haven't said anything to their spouse about divorce, but they're talking to their friends about divorce, and they're talking to their mama about divorce, and they're thinking about it. Well, I'm saying, okay, well, what do you have to lose? If you're already at the end, then what do you have to lose? Why don't you take a look at what it realistically is?
Got it.
And then you may say, you know what? I have found, and I even believe that the challenge of divorce, how difficult it's going to be, how hard it's going to be on your children, what it's going to do to you financially, maybe that may cause you to decide, you know what? The marriage is really worth saving, and maybe my issue is that I am so staunch and hard on this one particular issue, maybe I can move to the middle. Maybe I can compromise.
Sure.
And maybe I can agree, and in that agreement, I may save the marriage. And I've just found out that my problem is that we don't agree when it comes to sex.
Sure.
We don't agree when it comes to money.
Sure.
We don't agree when it comes to the little things. I just found out that when it comes to the little things, there's some serious issues that we don't agree about. But you know what? I'm not going to let something little like that destroy my marriage.
Is it possible that that book could be a good solution for their mate?
Oh, no doubt about it.
I mean, maybe the person's watching, they don't have any problem at all.
Exactly.
Or at least they think they don't have any problem at all.
Exactly.
All right, so maybe they're watching right now, and they're going through that checklist, right? And they're like, I don't have any of those issues, but he sure does. Could this book be a tool to begin the discussion, to get their man, so to speak, to get them to the place where they can actually bridge communication and save this marriage? I'm
sure there are people thinking, this book would be amazing for my husband. And you know what? It probably would be amazing for your husband. And it'd be great for him to read it.
Sure.
But here's how I suggest you do it. Read the book for yourself first.
Got it.
Find what in there applies to you.
In truth, being
Be
open.
honest with yourself. Apply it to yourself. And let him see the change in you.
Wow.
And when he sees you change and says, okay, why are you being so nice to me? Or why are you wearing lingerie to bed? Or why did you make me a chicken sandwich and bring it to me?
Wow.
What is happening to you?
Sure.
Then you can say, well, I read this book.
I'm glad you asked.
I'm glad you asked. I've been reading this book. No pressure. Whereas if you bring the book home and say, read this or else, then he may be threatened and may not want to read the book.
Walls will come up.
Walls come up. They get defensive because he thinks you're comparing him to someone else.
Wow.
And of course, the book will be a tremendous help to him.
Sure.
Because I wrote the book and it's written from a man's perspective.
Have you seen the results of this book? I mean,
people come up to me all the time and they say to me, I just had a conversation with a guy who's in his 50s, and he said to me, I needed this book about 15 years ago.
Wow.
He said, but you know what? It's really helping me right now.
that's good.
If I really lay out to people what marriage really is, they have to actually realize, wow, well, this is a definition, so let's have a conversation about this definition.
Sure.
Is this something that we can achieve? And you know what? I'm ready to come to the middle on that. I'm ready to be honest and open and say, maybe I've been at fault when it comes to the money aspect of the difficulty that we're having. And I didn't realize that it was such a big problem, but it is.
Yeah.
And it's messing us up. So let's attack that problem, and we may find that we're able to stay together and we can be friends and we can get along, because it's difficult to be friends with somebody that you fight with all the time.
Sure.
One of the things I say in the book is that you really shouldn't be fighting with somebody every week, let alone every day.
Right.
It's just a serious sign that you're not in agreement. It's a serious sign that you really do have some things to discuss. You really do have some things to pull together. But I find that if you can agree about what it's supposed to be, it's going to go a long way to helping you actually save what you have. I talk about this in the book. You might have to get not just this book, but I mean, I've got a whole marriage renewal system here.
Good,
I've got a whole system from more than just the book, but videos and a workbook and seminars in this package, beyond just the book that someone can get. They get a whole Save Your Marriage package, a whole Handle with Care package that can actually put them on the path to finding out, okay, what's the real issue? What's the crux of the issue in this relationship? This book is going to encourage people to communicate and talk with one another and to be honest with each other and to be honest about what the real issues are. Handle with Care is going to define what marriage is. So if you're dating someone, you can see, all right, this is my idea of marriage. Is this your idea of marriage? Hey, I'm reading this book. Why don't you read this book, and let's see if we both agree about what the definition of marriage is.
Good.
There's a whole nother level of commitment and a whole nother level of examination and a whole nother level of discussion when we decide to get married. And I think, I know that people don't have those conversations enough. They talk about what they like and don't like, but they don't talk about what marriage really means to them.
Sure.
If this book doesn't do anything else but make someone say, okay, wow, I agree with this guy. And even if someone reads this book and says, well, I agree with these points, but maybe not this point, it doesn't matter. If I list 5 points and you agree with 3 of them and he agrees with 3 of them, hey, you're in a good place.
Yeah.
You're a whole lot better off than you would have been if you never had any discussions at all. And in that way, a person, I honestly believe that it'll save people from getting divorced because they just found out, you know what, fundamentally, we don't agree about kids.
Right.
I want 5 kids, you want none.
Good.
So, you know what, as much as we may be attracted to one another, I think you're cute, you think I'm cute, I think you're attractive, I think you're smart, I think you're funny, but I want 8 kids, and you don't like kids. So that's a problem.
Sure.
And we can't just think, oh, love will cover it. We'll handle it when we get there. No, we won't. We need to discuss it now. We need to talk about it now, and we need to realize, are we compatible? Can we actually be together? Can we actually, do we agree? Because if we do, hey, you know what? Our marriage is going to go a long way.
We just got started today. We're out of time. You only heard a fraction of some amazing principles to shape you and move you ahead on your journey to bring a fresh, revolutionary awakening into your understanding about what God's plan is for you and your life and this thing called marriage.
In his nationally distributed breakthrough new book, Handle with Care, Andy Thompson uncovers, step by step, the insights to equip you with the principles and understanding necessary to find and keep the right mate by revealing a 21-point discovery system designed to help nurture your relationship into a joyful and lasting marriage, or help save a marriage in distress and help you succeed at what God intended for you both. Compiled from over 20 years of counseling couples from all walks of life, Handle with Care is a straightforward, no-holds-barred strategy to make love and marriage work, and provides you with real answers, the truth to what you can do now to fix what's broken and make I Do last forever. This powerful book is at the center of the Handle with Care toolkit, which also includes the complete and unedited behind-the-scenes interview where Andy and Damon walk you through chapters of the book, revealing the steps to repair communication breakdowns, jumpstart a godly sex life, and sharing the real secrets about successful marriages that few have the guts to talk about, but can make all the difference in your relationship right now. But that's not all. As part of this powerful collection, you'll receive Pastor Andy's most requested DVD from his acclaimed Real Love series, the Real Love Marriage Edition. And this exclusive content is the same material Pastor Andy uses to teach on marriage around the world. So you will laugh and cry as Andy Thompson gives edgy relationship insight for couples, singles, those who are dating, and those who are looking for the right mate. These resources sold separately would be well over $100, but exclusive only through Damon's special one-on-one offer, you can get this entire Handle with Care Toolkit collection, the Handle with Care book, the uncut full-length behind-the-scenes interview, and the bonus Real Love DVD series for your love gift today of only $50. That's half off. But that's still not all. Damon is so eager to see restoration occur in your marriage that if you call the number below before this program is over, you can enjoy the Flex Pay option. That's right. All you pay is only $25 now, and you won't be billed for the last installment until the following month. You have nothing to lose and so much to gain. Isn't your relationship worth it? It's not too late to get a fresh start in your marriage and realize that a godly marriage is possible and can last forever. Don't wait another moment. Call now.
I want you to join me by making a decision that this moment, the problems are done in your marriage. You've made a decision, no more of that. And we're going to move together towards the path of promise and prosperity and peace that God has for you. It begins with you making one simple call. I love you. We're one-on-one today with the greatest journey for the rest of your life, and you're about to discover it right now.